So if you've got a torus field like this, I think that's the first day of creation where it says God made the heaven and the earth, because the hyperboloid in this hourglass in the middle, that's the earth, because it's connected to the inertial plane. All atoms are like this. They're all toruses. And they have an inertial plane, which we call a neutron. And then they have the hyperboloid coming out. You have divergent centrifugal lines, and then they hit their wavelength, and then they converge centripetally. And so the energy is going like this continuously, okay? And so you've got two aspects here. You've got the torus on the outside, the donut, and then on the inside you have the hyperboloid, the torus and the bull, is how I call it. And I believe that the firmament is another torus in here, up here somehow. So it would be like this, perhaps, if you're going to put another torus field. You'll see them if you Google, if you go to Google Images and pull up torus fields, you'll see some large toruses, and you see smaller ones nested inside of them, because that's how it works. It has to. My body is one massive torus field, but all the atoms that make this physical body, they are all nested inside of that one torus field. So I believe the firmament is like another huge construct, toroidal, nested inside of the heavens and the earth. So the first day of creation, God made the heavens and the earth, and the second day made the firmament. So this guy here makes a distinction between the two, and he says that the firmament is lower than the vault. So I just want to finish with that and see if that inspires any thoughts amongst you guys. Now, I'll try and find that if anyone wants to jump in and make a comment.
I don't know what to say after all that, Santos.
That cube idea is indeed one I didn't thought of. I thought of the vertices of the cube, but not the lanes.
I'm finding that in the model that I'm working on, as well, like Santos drew there with the infinity sign within the toroid creates what we perceive as the analemma, and the moon flip when it crosses the equatorial plane. How we're having some discovering, how the moon just only at the equator will flip 180 degrees, and you see a reflection image of the same space all the time. Right, and it's the magnetic field where the toroid itself seems to be causing a lot of those anomalies that we're seeing.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the flipping of the images. It's very interesting because the sky was always considered to be a dome of mirrors. It has reflective mirror type attributes, and so there must be a lot of reverse images coming back to us somehow. Yeah.
No, I agree. We've been studying too. If you look at some photographs, high quality photographs of the Milky Way and the stars, the sky at night, and then do it at a lake that is a perfect mirror on a lake, you'll see that the stars in the sky outnumber the ones that appear in the water, and the ones in the water appear to be the real emitting objects, and the ones in the sky appear to be reflections of themselves, almost into an infinity mirror, just repeating and repeating and repeating. So we're studying that, how the light coming towards us seems to be almost a one-way street. So it's only coming in one direction, some of the light, and the rest of it's kind of going out from the source within the dome itself.
Yeah. Let me just read this, guys. So this might plant a seed that might be beneficial. I mean, the guy might be totally wrong. I don't know, but this supposedly was written 1600 years ago. I remember 5 or 6 years ago doing shows ridiculing this guy when I was a Globie. And I was saying, I bought this book to read it so I could see what the flat earthers, what, you know, drugs they were smoking. And now I understand that this guy was, you know, he's got a lot of great points in here. He makes a lot of great points. I don't agree with everything, but this is one of the points. He says, the eastern and southern parts are low and depressed, while the northern and western parts are of great elevation, but slope so gradually that the inequality is not perceived. The earth has therefore in its northern and western parts an elevation equivalent to its breadth. The earth as a whole is quadrangular, according to the delineation already given. We have also indicated the altitude of its most central part and the heights of its northern and western parts. Hence we have delineated it as placed at the center, surrounded by the ocean and also by the earth on the opposite side of the ocean, with the heavenly bodies circling round it, so that the conical mountain, he's talking about the mountain in the center somehow, it's got me confounded, can project a shadow according even to the pagans. He's claiming to be a Christian. So he's saying even the pagans say that. While in accordance with this figure, eclipses can occur, as well as the vicissitudes of night and day. So he's claiming that the mountain is causing eclipses and night and day in the center of this cosmos. And he says, divine scripture confirms the truth of this, saying, the sun riseth and the sun goeth down, and draweth to his own place. On his rising he goeth then to the south, and wheeleth his circles, and turneth round the air upon his circles, meaning that in circling through the air, he comes back again to his own place. Anyway, that point about the tabernacle and the variable height of it is very interesting. So there you go, guys. I'm done. Unless there's any questions, I can do some questions and then I'll head off.
Questions, yeah.
I had one quick question here. I just wanted to ask you real briefly here. Just as you were speaking there, it's going back to the list of the popes and some of their bulls. When you mentioned the one that did the indulgence.
Yep.
And I was just wondering, it's interesting, when I looked up how they were defining the term legally, that it seems that it's a way to reduce the amount of punishment one has to undergo for sins after death. So that's how the bull reads. So technically, isn't that the popes and the papal bulls declaring themselves God, if they can control the afterlife?
Yeah. Yep. It's like this, guys. They created a God system. Okay. What is a God system? There are many God systems. There's prime creator at the top. Some people call that Jehovah, others Krishna, others no name at all. In fact, Ein Sof, according to the Jews, means no name. And the Hindus also say that he is Anama, which means nameless. But that is the source of all things. then as that creator expands and puts his energy into the next, like the Bible says, and God created his only begotten son. So Jesus was God's only begotten son. So it seems that God expands into this Jesus archetype, and then from Jesus comes all the other, because it does say in the Bible that God used Jesus as the chief architect to create the cosmos. And so as he creates archangels, seraphim, cherubim, ophanim, angels, and then humans, this is the prime creator expanding, like milk becomes curds and whey, cream, cheese, yogurt, ghee, etc. So so the demigod is the God who makes worlds from energy which comes from the prime creator, pretty much like a carpenter builds a house and calls himself the creator of the house, but he didn't create the bricks and the wood and the steel and the nails. Someone else created those. So he is the second creator. So you could say, like, a carpenter is the demiurgos, because he uses pre-existing materials to create another form. And so as you go down from prime creator, you've got all these other systems of God, the archons, the archangels, the principalities, the thrones, and most of the Neoplatonic scholars, they described this system. You know, for instance, Sallustius, one of the great Neoplatonic masters of the 4th century, concerning the gods and the universe. And he explains that there are 10 Sephirothic systems. You know, at the top you've got, you know, Ein Sof, Ein Sof, and then Ein Sof, and then you've got like the demiurge, and it goes down all the way down. And so the demiurge, I see it as the cosmocrators of this world, which is the solar system. So the ancients did tell us that we live inside the mind of God. It's a mental construct, and it's God's mind that we live in. And so when we look up at the stars, we're looking at the synapses and the dendrites in the mind of God. And this has always been known, and I've always spoken about this in my presentations. You know, the Pleiades is the pineal gland, because it's in Taurus, and Taurus is here, Aries is here. And so when you're looking at the 7 sisters, the Pleiades scintillating in the sky, you're looking at the pineal gland of your big brother in the sky, the demiurge. And when you look at Leo, you're looking at the heart, because Leo is here, you see. And so I'll just get a little thing, a graph for you. To explain this, and there it is. And so, you know, when you're looking up at Taurus, it's pointing to the neck and shoulders and the cerebellum. Aries is the cerebrum. Well, Leo is the heart. You see. So when you're looking up at these constellations, you're actually looking at the ecliptic is actually the whole body of God. So it's considered to be his body, but it's also considered to be the mind of God, because the mind is your body. The brain is here, but my mind is in the tip of my finger. I can sense things, and I can do a lot of communicating with my fingers. So my mind is my body. Mind and body are really one in that sense. So when you look at the ecliptic, you are actually looking at the stars that make up the transcendental body of the demiurge. There's no way of escaping this. We're living inside a big atum, a big torus field, which is the demiurge, and that solar system is inside of, is probably next to other solar systems above, going up, because a torus field is considered to be a tree, the Yggdrasil tree. The hyperboloid in the middle, that's a tree, because hyperbole in many ancient languages means tree. And in French, and I think the Irish language, it's clear as day. Bol means tree. And bulb, that's why you get a bulb, a bulbous root coming out of the ground, because it forms a tree. And so the tree is your spinal cord column. So if you look at your torso torus, it's a tauri. Tree is just an anagram for Taurus. Look at the word. Just as truth is, just as all the words that end in tor, creator, actor. We are actors because we are inside of our Taurus Tor, the Torah. Tor backwards is rotate. And Tauruses are rotating magnetic fields. And the only thing that doesn't move is the inertial plane, or the plane of inertia, the planet of Eartha, intersecting straight across. So it's a tree, and possibly there are torus fields. There are Tauruses on top of Tauruses going up, 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 up. And the higher you go, the different states of being. And they're transcendental. This is the thing. You see, when you look at the skies, you're not looking at 3D stuff, as you guys well know. It's all 4D and 5D stuff. So we can't comprehend it. You can't comprehend it properly. But you can make certain conclusions. And those conclusions are that everything from our point of view is stationary, and that is turning inside of the torus field. So, yeah, it's a tree. It's a Tauri. The Yggdrasil tree possibly goes forever, but one thing we can rest assured of is that there is only one form. And if you want to know the shape of the universe, just meditate on the torus. There's no other form. It can't be any other way.
Thank you, Santos. Santos, I think Artist wants to ask you a question. Artist, you're muted.
Yeah.
You're muted, Artist. That's it. Artist. Oh, he doesn't obviously have volume or something. Oh, he's coming back. There's a question from the chat room. I'm just 1 second, Santos. I'm just
Check
putting
1, 2.
it down because I was copying. Oh, he's there.
Yeah. Does it
Can
work
hear you now.
All right. Hey, everybody. Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks,
Hello.
Santos. You're doing great with explanation and the true history of our world. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to ask you, you had that book earlier on showing those rectangles with the shape of the Earth.
Yep.
It was, yeah. Can you get that book again with that two rectangles with that sun in the middle? Just for a second.
This one?
No, that other one with those two squares.
Walter Russell.
Yeah.
This is Walter Russell and A New Concept of the Universe. I recommend reading this book because it explains how light works. Unfortunately, though, he was a globie and he believed that his only fault is that he puts the Earth as a globe vortexing around the sun, which is wrong. Only the planets vortex around the sun, of course.
You showed those two squares that were, just a little bit back with that one that looks like a sun in the middle. Yeah, that one. What does it tell about that picture? Could you read it, or is that in another language?
Yeah, no, I'm going to read it. It's in English, but I want to put that there so people can pause it, okay, on their... Now, it says, spheres reach complete... I need my glasses.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I'll read it because we might find something of value here, and you know, since you asked the question, there might be a good reason why you asked that question, because we might actually.
I want to show you a picture later on that is probably related to this structure in Egypt.
Okay, spheres reach completion into true symmetrically balanced forms only at wave amplitudes where diagonals of 8 wave fields meet. For this reason, spheres have within them the 8 octave tones which they project radially into the 8 separate octave wave tones of the sphere, which is father-mother of the outer 3 divided pairs. But that sphere, it says here, is saying here, size of sphere many millions of times exaggerated. So that sphere is millions of times exaggerated. It's not the true shape. So don't be...
No, it's probably smaller.
Way smaller, millions of times smaller. But see, and the cube is you know, I mean, I imagine the torus field is inside of this, bounded by the cube.
Yeah, I can share you a picture, Santos.
Yes, please.
Let's see. I hope it works, but I can see it's. I think. No, it's white again. Then. And my Google Earth doesn't work on the chat anymore for some strange reason. Okay, let's try it another way. I have a picture of it, so just a second. It's inconvenient that the Google Earth doesn't present in a Hangout anymore for some strange reason. But I will get the picture. Just a second, everybody. I'm searching for a picture to show Santos.
That's all right. We'll wait for you, artist.
Yeah, just show. I can pop it up from somewhere else, maybe just a little quicker. I hope. Sorry for that, guys. I was hoping Google Earth for some reason doesn't present anymore in the Hangouts. No, I tried it and I have a wide screen. So
hang on a second.
Very strange. I had that yesterday also with an Hangout that I want to show something on Google Earth and it didn't work.
I can share it, artist. If you send the link here on the chat, I can present it. I can share.
It's an ancient structure, and you have to have the GPS code, so it's a little bit tricky.
You've got pictures of it, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm just searching for it, but it's always I try to find them as quick as possible. I do it in another way because it would take maybe forever.
Always waiting.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Thank you for telling us all that, Santos, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all that with us, because I mean, people don't realise it's even tiring doing it, isn't it? A presentation takes a lot of energy from you, so you've shared your energy with us as well.
Yeah.
Let alone all the information.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
Got it. Yeah.
I'm losing a lot of sleep every night. I have been for quite a few years with my teeth, and I have lots of sleepless nights. So sometimes I wake up, I'm not in the mood for doing presentations at all. I get very, very exhausted, and it knocks you out. You need to be. Last night I didn't sleep well at all, and
Oh, Santos, big hugs.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I have the same problem sometimes. Then you're trying to research something and you're on a roll. You find all kinds of new information and you want to get as much information in files on your computer, because sometimes they delete the information after a couple of days, even hours, on the internet. I'm
Yep.
now. Can you see what I'm sharing, Santos?
Yes.
Yeah, this is in the Egypt desert, about 250 kilometers south of the Giza Plateau. And it was striking that the picture you showed about those rectangulars with the sun in it looks very similar to this. And
Yep.
there's nothing known about this structure whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So I found
Yep.
it strange that this structure, there's nothing written about this, and it's in the middle of the Egypt desert. And you showed that picture, and it just went a light on in my hand, and I thought, well, this looks very much alike.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's
Yep.
I think that that circle in the middle is about 2 soccer fields wide. So we have an estimate of how big it is. And for me, it was very striking that you also talked that that sun should be smaller in that rectangular, and here it is smaller.
Yep.
And also there's an, as you can see, it is a cross inside that circle. So maybe the cross is representing the moon and the circle is presenting the sun. It's a possibility, and that square is presenting the earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's nothing known and there's nothing written, even not on Wikipedia. I've searched a whole week to try to get some information about this site, but there's none information whatsoever on the internet.
Huh. Figures.
So I just wanted to share that with you, because you never know what is the relation to that book you showed and this structure in Egypt. They are kept. It's kept hidden from us. I just caught that structure by accident, and on the south of that structure, there's also a strange thing going on. This is just south of that structure. Just a couple of maybe a mile above that structure. All circles on the ground, and if you look very hard, you can see aeroplanes in it. Or some kind of
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Here you have some sort of aeroplane. Here you have an aeroplane. Here you have an aeroplane. Here an airplane. Here in this circle that's empty. Here you have an aeroplane. And what is very striking, that you can see those lines on the floor. You can you think maybe that are lines from all kinds of traffic going on. But if you put the timeline back almost 5 years, those lines on the ground are in the same place.